And so our guest speaker tonight is Rob Overstreet, and Rob is very professional and has provided with us his bio, and that's on the team doc. But if I could do a short introduction here. Today's guest is Rob Overstreet. He is the co-founder of Harbor Drive Holdings, LLC. Rob is a legacy cash flow specialist, a capital raiser, syndicator, and real estate investor. Rob's passion is teaching investors about alternative investment opportunities. His goal is to help investors reach early retirement while building their wealth by applying the strategies used by the wealthiest 1% of Americans. Rob lives with his wife and 2 young children in San Diego, California. Welcome to the Geek Group, Rob.
Thanks for having me. My first time here. I appreciate the invite, Max. Max and I have known each other for a couple of years now, and I think I first met Ben at a David Lindahl conference in Boston. It was several years ago, but anyways, happy to be here. My 3, by the way, and I love the starting format. Personally, my daughter went to kindergarten this last week. So, and she's our oldest, so it's just like, just crazy. Our oldest kid is in like real school now. So that's a big deal. In business, we're about to go under contract on an apartment deal in Houston. We have some accepted terms and we have several revisions of the purchase agreement. And so hopefully by next week, we'll be live on a deal and raising some capital. And then the latest book that I'm reading is Hook Point by Brendan Kane, which I think is going to, it's perfect for this conversation that we'll have here tonight, because the whole point of the book is using hook points or catchy titles when you're out there looking for investors or just in anything in business, right? And his whole point is we live in this 3-second world. And that's kind of the main focus of his whole book is we're in this 3-second world. We're all on the phone using Facebook and Instagram and everything, swiping up as fast as you can. So it applies here because if you're out there raising capital from investors and you're promoting yourself and you're promoting your business, you need to think of something that will grab someone's attention and just reach off the phone and slap them in the face within 3 seconds, because that's the kind of world we live in. It's both good and bad, right? It's good because the technology that's out there is allowing us to raise tremendous amounts of investor money via all the technological platforms and social media, love it or hate it. But it's also bad because you only have 3 seconds. So Brendan Kane, Hook Point. Anyways, first time on this platform. So I see this present now. Is that all I need to do, Max? And you're on mute. I think present now. Let's see here.
Yep, try it out. And sometimes it'll lag a few seconds there while it's opening.
Share my entire screen. Yes. Okay. All right.
And just one more thing, Rob's website address is on the Geek Group doc right there, and I'll type in that book onto the doc too.
Okay. Are you guys seeing this in speaker mode? I've got 2 screens going here. Or do you see one slide, or do you see like my speaker mode? Forgive me, this is my first time. Did you just see one slide?
Yeah.
We see your main slide, and then now it's the PowerPoint.
Yeah, let me see here. I'm working on 2 screens. Bear with me 1 second here.
It looked like speaker mode at first because it had your picture off to the right of the slide.
Yeah, hang on.
Yeah, you're like a business card picture off to the right. Yeah.
Here, I'm going to share this other screen. Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
Okay. Share screen. Screen 2, share. Okay, let's try this again. How's that look? Just one screen? Just the whole slide?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Max reached out a couple months ago, and I'm very grateful to be here, guys. Thanks so much for having me. And he asked me if I could talk about raising capital. So we'll just kind of walk through this. And, a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about, we implement in our day-to-day business. Some of the things we're going to talk about, we're working on implementing in our business, but everything is absolutely best practice. And I'm going to share some really cool nuggets with you guys. If you're out there in the field, raising capital, looking for investors, and obviously we're all looking for real estate deals to do, but the deals can't get done without the money, right? So I always tell people, this is the two lowest common denominators of this business are deal flow and investor flow, right? And it's arguable which one is more important, but they're both equally important. So, so a little bit about me. I've been in the business about 5 years, and over that time, we've been able to do several deals. We primarily focus on apartments. We've raised over $7 million in that time. I started out, I was working a W-2 and I started, educating myself, reading books, going to trainings and participating in networking groups just like this one, and just took baby steps. And over time, I got deeper and deeper to the point where now I'm full-time in the business as of a couple of years ago. Primarily, we look for apartment deals, and we'll also take a look at flex industrial, flex office, commercial properties. And I live in San Diego with my wife and my 2 young kids. One of them just started kindergarten. So tonight I want to talk about kind of 4 areas of raising capital. First one is attract. Or, you have to always be attracting new investors, right? Whether it's events like this or networking functions that you do outside of this group, you're always looking for LPs, right? Passive investors. And by the way, even if you're in a group full of active investors, many active investors are also passive investors. So my point here is everybody is a prospective investor for your next real estate deal. So once you've attracted them, you need to indoctrinate them. You need to tell them about who you are, what you do, get them comfortable. Then you need to nurture. We don't always have a deal under contract, right? So you need to nurture these guys because you have to keep them warm. That way, when the deal does come, they know who you are and they're ready to write the check. And then, of course, the close, and then at the end, of course, questions. So the attraction, and I'll just read this. Your goal for raising money or more capital must be to acquire as many names and emails of qualified investors as possible. This is the most critical part of your capital raising. Everything we're going to talk about here tonight starts right here. The larger your database, your list of prospective investors, the more money you're going to be able to raise. Okay? This is critically important. All of the most successful syndicators out there have very, very large databases that they've worked to build over many years. So everything you do out there when it comes to raising money and looking for investors should be, getting people's first name and email at the very least and inputting it into some type of database. So that takes a few things. It takes systems, right? So I'm just going to go through a couple of these. Obviously, your brand, your website, and if you don't have a brand, or a website at this point, that's okay. But this is kind of the foundational piece, right? You need to. This begins to establish your credibility, right? And there's a variety of resources out there where you can create websites and have. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just some place where you can direct traffic, right? Thought leadership platform, and these don't go in any particular order, but thought leadership platform is something that you do or have created. For example, you create a mastermind, you begin to establish credibility among your mastermind people. This could also be starting a podcast. Now, starting a podcast, we haven't done this, but starting a podcast takes a big time commitment, right? But the next best thing would be to go on a podcast tour. And there are a zillion podcasts out there that talk about real estate, finance, investing. And if you're ready, you should start to go on a podcast tour, because you get the recordings, you can start promoting yourself, and people listen to these podcasts and they start to, think of you as a credible resource in the real estate investing space, right? So thought leadership platform. Another easy way to create a thought leadership platform would be like a YouTube channel, and film yourself if you're looking at a deal or if you're underwriting a deal, and just short videos, and you can promote that, and people start to view you as a thought leader in the space. This adds tremendous credibility when you're talking to prospective and current investors. Okay. Publish content on a regular basis. We're going to be talking about this a lot. If you're serious about raising capital, you need to be out there on every social media platform. You need to be telling the entire world about what you're doing, and you need to be publishing and posting about the business on an ongoing basis. Automation, so this is something. Automate everything that you can. There's a great book called Who Not How, and it talks about outsourcing if you're able to, as well as leveraging technology. And we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. But some type of CRM software is pretty important. We're active campaign users, but there's hundreds of them out there. MailChimp is a good place to start at a very reasonable cost. HubSpot, Salesforce is kind of the gold standard, but you pay the gold price. But there's quite a few. Pipedrive. There's many CRM softwares out there, but as you begin to start attracting investors, you're going to need a place to host them, right? Keep notes. Keep them in one central place so that you can communicate with them efficiently. Virtual assistants, this is an option. There's quite a few opportunities out there, and there's many successful syndicators that use the help of virtual assistants to help them in their business. It's a cost-effective way to take some of the day-to-day off of your plate and grow your business faster. So some of the marketing pieces about attraction. So one thing I've learned, especially the deeper I get into capital raising, and by the way, I have a partner in my business, and so he's more focused on the deal acquisition and asset management, where my primary focus is on investor relations and growing our investor database. But the deeper I get into the business, each day that goes on, the more I learn from others who are more successful than I am, the more I realize that if you're serious about raising real equity for real estate deals, you're not in the real estate business anymore. You're in the marketing business. And so you just need to understand that piece. We're always marketing ourselves, right? And our business. There's never been a better time than now, kind of goes along with the title of my presentation. Technology these days, and specifically social media, love it or hate it. I'm personally not a big social media fan for my personal life, but I love it for my business, because it gives me a soapbox that I can stand on and shout to the entire world all the benefits of investing in my product of real estate, right? So you can leverage that today more so than any previous syndicator before us has ever been able to do. Funnels, lead magnets kind of go in with my book, Hook Point, whereby you can create a lead magnet to get somebody's name and email. That could be a short ebook, and it doesn't have to be a 200-page book. I'm talking about 1, 2, 3 page ebook, and you promote it online. And that's the hook, right? Hey, 5 things nobody will tell you about investing in real estate. I'm going to give this to you for free if you give me your email. Lead magnets are a great tool for us all to use if you're going out there looking for qualified investors and trying to build your list, right? Lead magnet could be a due diligence checklist. It could be a short video about yourself. Hey, here's a video of me walking a apartment unit. I'm going to show you things to look out for. I'm going to give that video to you for free in exchange for your email address. These are tools that help you do the most critical part of raising capital, which is get as many emails and first names as you can, right? So Facebook ads, and some of these tools, this is fantastic because you can put the right message in front of thousands of very qualified investors based on a variety of criteria. It's quite scary how much Facebook knows about all of us. You can filter people and place your message in front of people based on income, geography, marital status, job, it's insane the amount of data, and it's scary in one regard, but on the other hand, for all of us looking for equity to do more real estate deals, these are fantastic tools. Okay. YouTube channel we kind of covered. Great resource. Again, just promoting yourself, establishing yourself as a credible resource for anyone that's looking to invest in real estate. LinkedIn is a great tool, and we do at least once a month, newsletters. And you can host webinars. This is a great way to generate new emails to come into your database. And I have a hack that I did not create. I learned this in a paid training that I did about 6 months ago. But this gets a little bit more technical. But you host webinars for the purpose of the primary purpose of raising money, which is, again, get as many emails as you can and enter them into your database, right? So I learned in this training, this kind of technical hack whereby you can use LinkedIn to search the entire world for anything you want related to their job. So you could search for business owners, you could search for doctors, high income earners, and you can there's a tool, or you can hire a virtual assistant on Fiverr.com for a couple of bucks. And I can explain all this. If anyone wants more technical detail, you can email me afterwards and I can kind of walk you through how to do this. But $5, $10, $20, you can pay somebody to scrape emails off of LinkedIn. And so now I'm talking like 10,000 emails. Okay. All doctors, all business people, all high income earners based on the criteria that we search for. Well, now what do? You can't just email 10,000 people from your email server because they'll shut you down. That's called spamming. Okay. But the hack is with a free Eventbrite account, free to you. You can email thousands of people inviting them to your webinar next Wednesday night, right? So Eventbrite is a trusted email source. So it penetrates, it doesn't get bounced into people's junk. So you get a higher open rate and you get a higher subscribe rate. So you can take 10,000 emails, use Eventbrite for free, and email them, inviting them to your webinar about how to generate wealth for you and your family and retire early via real estate. And you're not going to convert all 10,000, but you might get a couple hundred people showing up. And from there, because now they've at least seen your name and your brand, now you can pull them into your email server or whatever your CRM is, and you can market them continuously. If you're doing a webinar once a year, twice a year, once a quarter, whatever you're comfortable with, and you use some of these strategies, you can convert and bring hundreds of qualified investors into your account to solicit your next real estate deal. Really, really powerful stuff. You guys all following me? I'm kind of flying through this. And so if there's any questions later, we can talk about it, or you can always email me as well. This is probably my favorite slide of this whole presentation. What is your database worth? Okay. Do you know the value of your database today and how much money you can squeeze out of it? Okay. If you use some of the things we're going to talk about here, we just covered attract, but if you can properly indoctrinate and nurture, which we're going to talk about next, you should be able to close plus or minus 2.5% of the investors in your database at an average investment size of $75,000. This is really powerful stuff, and I'm going to show you why. Okay. Let's say you're just getting started and your list isn't very big, but you're working on it, right? Let's say you have 500 people in your database. Somewhere floating around there are 12.5 people, live investors, at an average check size of $75,000 to your next real estate deal. You've just raised almost $1 million. I don't know how you get a half of an investor. If you cut an investor in half, he probably won't be an investor ever again. So I don't recommend that. What about if your list grows to 1,500, right? You're doing all these attraction. You're out there casting a big net online and you're promoting yourself and you're doing lead magnets and you're doing all the things and you're looking for new investors. All we want is your email. If you can grow your list to 1,500, you've just raised almost $3 million. Once again, there's a half person in there. Don't cut investors in half. And it goes on. You grow your list to 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. You just raised almost $19 million. There's 250 investors floating around in your 10,000 person database. You've just raised almost $19 million. And that happens year after year after year. The average investor will invest once per year with you. And just for fun, that buys you a lot of real estate, guys. If you can raise that much money. Okay. This takes work and effort. We're not here. We're not even, we're like getting close to here. Okay. But our goal is, our first goal is here. Our next goal is here. This isn't going to happen overnight. It's going to take effort. But if you can attract them, if you're firing on all cylinders, you're using all the tools that are available to us today, you can get there too. Okay. And I mean, this is staggering stuff right here. This is how much money you can raise. Okay. Indoctrination. So your lead magnets are working. You're getting people's emails. Now what? You got to automate this. So you've given away a free ebook. First thing, you got to send them a thank you email, right? And here's your free ebook, checklist, whatever, webinar. And you always have a CTA. CTA is a call to action. Anything you do, any email you send out that's a marketing email, you always include a call to action. We're going to cover that next. But you want to engage with your list, okay? Next email comes out a day, 2 days, 3 days later. Who we are, what we do, right? This is who I am. This is my business. We're involved in real estate investments. We're looking for qualified investors who want to, come along for the ride, grow their wealth, looking for passive income, blah, 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 right? So this is the second email in the indoctrination process. Third email, here's our experience. Here's some testimonials, right? Email 4, 5, 6. Here are the benefits of investing in real estate. You notice each email, you always want a call to action. You're giving them something else. Maybe it's a phone call, hey, schedule a call with me, something. You always never send an email without a call to action. And by the way, if you don't have experience yet, leverage this group. Leverage some of your other relationships. Hey, here's my experience. I work with a group of people who in the last year have bought 1,000 apartment units. We have some opportunities that we're looking at, and we're looking for qualified investors. It's okay if you don't have experience. You can leverage other people's experience with their permission, of course. But the group that you're in here, the Geeks, this is exactly where you want to be. Call to action examples. You always include call to actions. And this applies to podcasting or anything you do, YouTubing, whatever. You're always trying to direct them to do something, take action, call to action, right? Just as it sounds. So you're looking for engagement, right? Here's a call to action. So let's say in this who we are and what we do. By the way, John Doe, here's a YouTube video where we explain what a cap rate is. Just by merely directing them to that YouTube, you're engaging with them, right? That's your call to action. Call to action doesn't have to be break out your credit card or invest with this, this next deal. A call to action is engagement. You want them to engage always. And I'm going to explain that in a second. Here's some more call to action examples. Recent podcasts. Here's a free investor checklist. Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, or our, any social media? Join our private Facebook community. This is a great one. It's totally free. You can create a private Facebook community and invite new contacts, investors that you're networking with to come and join your community, and it starts to build your following. Those people are much more likely to invest than your cold investor that you just met, yesterday. Schedule a 15-minute call. All of our emails always have this, right? Calendly, it's a very inexpensive resource, or there's a variety of others. I think Google has a calendar booking thing. But hey, want some time? Call me. Book time today. Everything that we send out always have the CTA, right? Okay, email sequence example. So I'm going to show you guys. Let me set this up. I'm going to show you inside of our. Hang on. We are active campaign users for our. Hang on. Okay, we're going to go with this one. We use active campaign for our CRM. And I'm going to show you an example. Okay. Can everybody see this? I don't know who's, can you guys see this okay? I'm going to assume yes. I can't see people's faces or anything at this point.
Okay, I can see it, and I saw Trina and some other ones up there. Okay,
so this is the inside of Active Campaign. This is our account, and there's lots of functionality. It's a very reasonably priced if you're looking for a software solution to manage your investor database. So this is like kind of the bloodline of our business. They have this section called automations. And this does so much stuff that I'm still not sure about all the things that it can do, but we know a little bit enough to be dangerous. So I wanted to show you guys this one. So new investor opt-in. This is a live automation. Okay. So if I talk on a podcast, or if I talk on a YouTube video that we publish, or whatever it is, I direct people to the website, right? Go check out our website, fill out the, sign up to our free investor club, right? So from our website, they fill out the form. Active Campaign automatically gives them this tag, which is important. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But immediately, they receive a thank you for joining, okay? And then after that, I receive an email saying, hey, Johnny Investor signed up. So I can kind of watch that. Okay. Then we wait until the current day of the week is a weekday, or I should say not a weekend, and the current time is 8 a.m. Los Angeles. So the reason we did this is to make it seem a little more authentic and real, like it's coming from a real person. If somebody fills out the form at 2 a.m. on a Saturday night, I don't want to say, hey, here I am. This is really me, not a robot, right? So we tell it to wait until if it's on a weekday, to wait until 8 a.m. So first thing here, who we are, what we do. Wait 2 days. Here's the next email talking about the benefits of whatever. Wait 2 more days. Here's another testimonials, or talking about whatever the business. And I'm just kind of flying through this, but you can kind of get the idea, right? Why invest in apartment buildings? Another 2 days. Apartment building terminology. You're going to need to know this, Mr. Passive Investor. What is a cap rate? What's an equity multiple, right? What are things you should look for? This is the indoctrination. right? So we're telling them and we're providing value, and this is happening automatically without me doing anything. All they did was sign up. And by the way, each one of these things has a call to action. Let me just, I'll just click on one. It's, nope, that wasn't it. Hang on. Let's see if we can look at it. Nope, that's not it either. Anyways, I mean, you get the idea. So this is the indoctrination piece. There's many other automations, and this thing, can do so much. And again, for such a reasonable price, this is far, far, far cheaper than Salesforce, and it's, in my opinion, equally as powerful. You can see all these automations we have. We're doing like seller drip campaigns, so we get lists of property owners, and we're sending them a pretty aggressive campaign, and then if they don't ever call us, then we set them up in a this is the initial one that's aggressive, and then we set them up in a drip campaign where they're receiving one email every 6 months for the next like 10 years, saying, "Hey, Mr. Seller, I sent you some emails last 6 months. Just want to see if the timing's right today. Right? Give me a call. If not, I'll check in with you in another 6 months." This happens automatically, right? So, okay. Let me get back here, and we'll continue.
And I know you're rushing already, but just be a little careful of time. You've probably only got about 15 minutes or so if you're going to take a few questions. So
okay. So, back to okay. Sorry. This is unusual because let's see here. Oh, here we go. Okay, I can just click on the screen. Okay, next up is nurture. Keep your leads warm, so that way when your deal does get under contract, you're ready to, they're ready to write the check. We're sending newsletters at least monthly. You can communicate with your investors even, on deals you're not doing, right? Deal I didn't get. Hey, investors, we had to pull out of this deal because we found out that there was too much bad debt, right? All of this is to establish credibility and to nurture, right? Because it could go, weeks, months, or longer before you get your next deal. You got to keep them warm. Use tags and segmentation with your CRM, and I kind of covered that. But as people click on these call to action buttons, and as we're tagging them, when it comes time to raise a couple $1,000,000 for our next deal, I can pull a report and it shows me how engaged my contacts are. And I'm going to focus on the most engaged contacts first, right? Because that's low-hanging fruit. And your CRM will help you with all of that. Track engagement kind of goes along with that. Encourage social media engagement. Publish on social media. Always give value. Call your most engaged investors. I mean, that's important. So, nurture is important because, after they've gone through the indoctrination phase, if you don't have a deal for a while, you've got to keep them warm. So you got to keep touching them. Okay. Then it comes to the close, right? Now you have a deal. Now it's time to raise some investor capital. So the way they're doing it these days is with a webinar. I'm sure you guys have seen them. Many of you have probably been on one of these webinars where someone's pitching a deal, right? So you got to announce your deal as early as possible. And then these next ones, of course, host your webinar. So here's how this breaks down. I'm gonna just click straight through. And this is something that I learned from a different mastermind group that I'm in. But when you're promoting a webinar, the first email should be talking about downside protection, right? Hey, investor, we got this great apartment deal. We've got it under contract, and we're inviting you to this webinar. I want to talk about the downside protection, how we're going to protect your capital. Our underwriting's conservative. We bought this deal below the comps per door, whatever. Just you want to talk about focus on how you're not going to lose their money, right? I think it was the quote was the first rule of investing is don't lose money. So that's the first email, right? Downside protection. Next one's upside potential. Hey, our exit cap rate was a conservative 8, right? But today's market cap rate is fill in the blank, like 2s out there, right, guys? But we're conservative at projecting an 8 cap. So there's tremendous upside potential that's not even talked about in our underwrite, right? I mean, if we get a lower cap rate, you're going to make even more money. So talk about the upside potential in email 2. Then email 3 is unseen benefits. Hey, I live in the market where this deal is, or hey, the property management team that we've hired used to manage this deal 2 or 3 owners ago, and they're very familiar with it. Things that you don't typically pitch in an investor presentation, right? The unseen benefits, right? Here's a little hack. Use Google Calendar for all the confirmed attendees. The reason is Google Calendar doesn't wait for you to click and say, yeah, put that in my calendar. Google Calendar penetrates and it'll put it straight in their Outlook, whether they asked for it or not, right? And you can integrate all of this with your CRM or however you're doing it. But when somebody subscribes for the webinar, if you use Google Calendar, as well as whatever Zoom or whatever will send these follow-up emails, but if you use Google Calendar, that will automatically be input into their calendar without them even realizing it. And then the day of, right, they receive the notification. Day of the webinar, you send a 4-hour, a 1-hour email, and then a live, click right here. For the day of the webinar, you don't want to be, too spammy. So you only send it to the people who have registered. However, once you've recorded your webinar, you send it to the entire list again. Here's our recorded webinar. But these emails, reserve those for the people that have signed up, right? You don't want to just spam your entire list. Use a workflow to help automate. We're running kind of short on time. So, I can share an example of that later. But that's all I've got for tonight. I know I kind of flew through it. Like I said, we're implementing most of these strategies now, and we're working on implementing the rest, as we go. We're building our business every day, just like all of you. But those are several key pieces to raising private capital for real estate deals that I've learned from others who have done it before me. And I'm really glad to be here. You guys are all in the right frame of mind, and happy to answer any questions or chat with you at any point. My contact information is there. Reach out to me and let's connect.
Okay, so with that, thank you so much, Rob. That's awesome. If we want to open it up to some questions, anybody, if you can give me a hand raise or some signal, maybe we can have you ask Rob some questions. Go ahead, Michael. Unmute there.
Just to verify, Rob, are you in Southern California? You said
yes.
San Diego, right?
Yep. San Diego.
Your investing purposes, are you in state? Are you looking in multiple states, or what's your business model?
None of the properties that we own or look at are in California. So we're in the Midwest. We're about to go under contract on a deal in Houston, Texas. I travel a lot, in pursuit of deals, and as well as, kind of maintain the portfolio. So I'm on a plane, at least every other month, going someplace or another.
And you're visiting properties. How has COVID affected how you approach walking a property or dealing with sellers?
We just follow the CDC guidelines. We mask, we social distance, all the airport stuff, we just follow the rules. So okay. I wasn't traveling as much early in the pandemic, but it started to increase. I thought I was going to be in Houston actually yesterday, but we're just trying to iron out the last little bits and nuts and bolts of this contract. And so it's looking more like next week, but who knows? So.
Okay. Thank you.
And then we do have a Meet the Sponsors event coming up for the Geek Group on October 22. We're trying to get Rob for that. He may not be able to make that one. If not, I hope to do 3 meet the sponsor events, maybe 4 a year. And so I'd like to have him back for that purpose. But that's another reason to put his contact information down. And then, Rob, is it okay if they go to your website and register so that they can experience what the email campaign looks like from the user's end?
Absolutely. Yep. I encourage it. I do it myself. You know, when I meet other sponsors, I mean, I'm trying to learn as much as I can as well. So, you know, I register for everybody's, right? Hey, you know, like I just met this guy at some event that he's an active, you know, real estate investor or whatever. I sign up for everybody's newsletter. I sign up for everybody's, you know, because I want to see how other people are doing it to see if we can improve on ours, right? So absolutely, I encourage it.
And Rob's contact information is also on the Geek Group weekly form there too. If you go down about the middle there, above everybody else's contact information, you'll see his website link there. Okay. And then now, is it public knowledge? Are you able to share with us how many are in your database? Are you able to share your number?
We're kind of around the 1,500 mark. So, you know, I've recently learned many of the strategies that I talked about here tonight. Okay. And I'll just give you a little bit of background on how I started in the business. And this is another nugget. When I started in the business, I was working a job, and you know, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad was, you know, one of the first books I read, and it just those concepts just clicked. Positive, you know, passive income and replace your, you know, have passive income streams, and so I started walking the path of, you know, real estate and started to educate myself, learning about the business, going to events, and just taking baby steps. And I met some folks that eventually turned out to be some of our first mentors, just because we had some commonality and you know, we were hungry. And so we started underwriting a lot of deals, and we would show it to them, and, you know, they'd say yes or no and underwrite more deals. And just kind of, we were kind of the bird dogs originally, right? Like we're just underwriting deals, and we had a source that we would just go to and show them and say, hey, you want to do this deal with us? And, eventually, you know, started submitting LOIs on deals. And then next thing you know, we got one accepted. And so we did our first deal in Dallas, Texas. That was a 80 door. And then it was, you know, from there, it was off to the races. But my point is, you can get started by just surrounding yourself with good partners. You know, you don't have to have a 25,000 person database to go get a deal going. You know what I mean? Coming to events like this and networking with like-minded people that have, you know, stood in the shoes that you want to stand in tomorrow. That's absolutely the, you know, the you're in the right place doing the right thing. However, and what I was getting at before is, the first several years of our business, we were only focused on underwriting anything that walked and submitting offers on deals. And it wasn't until semi-recently, like a couple of years ago, we said, you know, if we ever want to fly under our own wings, we're going to have to build our investor database. So we started looking for other networking events, talking, you know, that were more focused on capital raising, and really started to put a lot of attention on investor attraction and how to market to investors and how to indoctrinate, nurture them, right, once they're in the system. And so it's a long-winded answer. We're at about 1,500, but that's because we were doing it the hard way. Go into events. I'd collect 5, 10, 20 business cards, and then I'd sit there and I'd enter them all into my database. And it's like, all right, we got 20 more, you know. Today, there is a way using technology that you can scale this and automate it so that you're getting new investors in your database 24 hours a day on autopilot with very little effort from you once the systems are established. It takes a lot of effort to get all this stuff set up. But once it's set up, you know, there's a lot of guys that are just collecting hundreds of new investors, inbound investors into their database on an ongoing basis with very little effort because they've put the work up front, setting up the systems. Does that make sense?
Terrina? Check your mute. Or I don't hear you right now. Let me come back to you. Or type it in the chat and I'll read it, Terrina.
Okay, can you hear me?
There you go. Go.
There we go.
Good.
Okay, sorry. So, Rob, you mentioned Fiverr or virtual assistants. Would you say that automated feature is mainly generated through their work efforts, or is it through the software, the CRM software system?
Really good question. There is a learning curve on all of this software. I don't know if it has. I can't see everyone's face, so I want to say by a show of hands. But if you haven't used a CRM platform before, which we had not, so anybody can get involved in the CRM software. We're using ActiveCampaign. I shared my screen and showed you that. But to set up these automations, there is a little bit of a learning curve, and we were teaching ourselves at the time. There's lots of resources. ActiveCampaign has free videos, and they show you, there's a whole community of people. You can type any topic you want. How do I set up this automation? And you can learn it. Once you kind of get your hands around it, it's fairly simple to set up. But if you want to do some more advanced automations and things, we can look outside to Fiverr or Upwork. There's lots of, ActiveCampaign or MailChimp or HubSpot or Salesforce, professionals that for very little cost can help you kind of design what it is you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
but the basics, like the one that I showed you, like that, I set that up in about 5 minutes. The long part was writing the emails, because I was very thoughtfelt. I wanted to make sure that I'm delivering the right message. But, once you have that piece down, the engineering of how the automations flow, you can get the hang of that fairly easily.
I was more so, you made a statement that the leads will be more automated, meaning that they will come to you as opposed to you hunting them down.
Okay. Yep. So when you're talking about that, and we were talking about lead magnets and funnels, that we are absolutely outsourcing. That again is something that you can totally learn. ClickFunnels is one of the biggest names out there. I'm sure you guys have heard of Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels. It's very user friendly, and you can create your own funnels. But we just don't. We want to get there faster. So for a couple $100, we can hire somebody that knows what they're doing, that can set us up with a couple of quick funnels that we know work. And then from there, all your job is to create the hooks, right? I think of like the lead magnet and the funnel, the sales funnel, and we've all seen these. You've been browsing on Instagram or something, and something pops up, and it's you click on it, and it's this whole sales script, right, of all the reasons why you got to buy this widget or whatever it is. And that's a funnel. So people are designing them for real estate investors. Hey, I'm going to tell you 5 things that nobody's ever going to tell you about real estate. All I need is your email address. And then they click on it, meaning they're interested. You show them this funnel. So, think of the lead magnet as like the hook if you're fishing, and then the funnel being kind of the fishing line, and you're trying to, again, the call to action is give me your email in exchange for something free that I'm going to give you. So when it happens automatically, you're only creating, a couple of lead magnets, maybe an ebook, maybe the 5 things that nobody tells you about real estate or whatever, things to avoid, or it could be, an investor checklist or something that you're giving away for free. You create 2, 3, 5 of those. Then you just cast the net out there, and all the systems behind you are set up. So it's all automated. So Johnny Investor, wants my ebook. So he gives me his email address in the middle of the night. I'm asleep, and he's automatically kicked in. ActiveCampaign handles the rest. It's just like it's happening automatically. But it all starts with that lead magnet, right? And some of the automated systems. Does that answer your question? I tend to get...
Yes, it did. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then if I could move quickly to David. David's had his hand up. What's your question, David?
So I have actually two questions. First is with the click funnels that you was just speaking about, do you do pay per click like through Google?
We've done a little bit of that. Some of it can be just organic, and we have a virtual assistant that's kind of helping us with that. We have used pay per click via Google and Facebook to answer your question. Yeah, and we'll identify an audience that we want to do, and we'll set a budget. The budget doesn't have to be expensive. Maybe it's like $50 a week or something. And see what happens, right? And then when the budget dries up, then you wait for the next week and then re-up again. You could start small, and it doesn't have to, cost an arm and a leg.
Okay. And with those emails that you said you gather from LinkedIn, do you guys try to like target their is there a way you can use those emails to target their Facebook so you have a real target audience on Facebook?
There is, I believe, a way. I'm not technically inclined to really explain it, but I've been told that there is a way. I'm not the technical guy. I'm the big idea guy, and then I try to find someone that can help me do it. But I have had that question as well, David, and our current VA that's kind of helping us set up some of this marketing. He's said that he can develop a Facebook audience based on some of the names and emails that we pull out of LinkedIn.
Okay. Well, can I ask one last question?
Sure.
It's just in regards to the VA. Do you guys use VAs for basically when you're getting a lot of deals flowing across your desk, you use them to do like initial underwriting? Have you trained them to do that?
We haven't done that yet. No. But that is a big job, and it takes a lot of training to get somebody proficient at underwriting. I know of some people that do have some VAs that are helping at least with the initial underwriting, like plug the numbers in kind of stuff. But I believe what you're alluding to is underwriting takes a lot of time, right?
Exactly.
It's like if we can get free up some of that time via $5 or $10 an hour VA, it's like a couple hours a week. I'd pay that money. But to answer your question, we've not. It's either myself or my partner that are underwriting at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, if you had to sort of list off 5 trainings or people or resources or companies or websites that you kind of are at the top of your list for this effort, what would you say?
Well, I started with Dave Lindahl. He's a fantastic trainer. He has a great program, rementor.com or something, RE for real estate. His program is great. It's what got me started. He has a high caliber following. I met some fantastic folks. It's how we got our first deal.
Yeah. And how about in terms of, and I want to focus you a little bit on the marketing for investors. How about when you're thinking of marketing for investors? For example, I heard you mention a group that helps rebroadcast your LinkedIn posts among investor groups and some other things. What would pop into your mind for that?
Yeah. So that was learned from a boot camp that I did for the second time because it was so good, in my opinion, just recently through Neil Bawa. So Neil Bawa does a multifamily boot camp every year or twice a year. I don't know how often, but I did it once before, and it was just a geyser of information. And I wanted to do it again for a few reasons. First of all, his content is more geared towards capital raising and some of these, technology hacks in terms of raising more capital, and not as much about the X's and O's. Dave Lindahl's is a good intro for like the X's and O's of real estate. Neil Bawa is more focused on, raising capital and using technology to do so. They don't cover cap rates too much in his program. But secondly, because he attracts a very high caliber of attendee. I don't know if anyone's been to a Neil Bawa boot camp, but I can tell you after we, because he promotes, networking with everybody. So you end up with, if there's 70 people in his 1 week long boot camp or whatever, you come out with 70 emails. And so we set up an automation, hey, I'm Rob. Great to meet you at the boot camp. I'm going to send you another email tomorrow with more value. Another day, more value, more value, more value. We've raised money from people that attend his boot camp. I mean, he attracts a certain type of person, a lot of like technologists and things, people working 1,000 hours a week, but they earn, a lot of money, all of, many of them very much accredited. And we have repeat investors out of going to that training. And so I'll probably go to his once a year, at least forever, as long as he's doing it, just because, of the networking. So,
okay. So, and we're getting about 6:19 now. So we should start to move back to the other document and get ready for the rate and wrap. Rob, thank you so much. I think it's awesome. I was just going to put you shared your database with us. The Geeks only have about 650 or so in our database. So I think Rob has done very well. I think I'm associated with Rob's LinkedIn account. I get his posts. They're exceptional. I can tell he spends a lot of time with content. So it's just been, we've kind of been following Rob in terms of his exploits in this. I think we switched to Active Campaign at some point, maybe about the time you guys did, where it just was such a powerful platform for email addresses that we went to that. We did do an automation based on yours. I think I got your letters. I did, I don't know if I would say that I even looked at your content trying to read the same thing going, while I can't write this well, maybe I can do something along these lines, right? So all that's highly recommended. And I think we should all say thank you to Rob.
Thanks for having me, guys. Reach out anytime if there's anything that I can help anyone with, a resource I can share, or, bounce idea off me. I try to make myself as available as I can to anybody that I network with in the space. So take down my number, email, connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's hook up.
Maybe if we can put a bug in your ear, maybe if you need help raising on that Houston deal, you'll reach out to the Geek group. If there's a percentage of GP to be had for raising, I know a lot of Geek group members would like to consider the deal and consider raising for it.
Yeah, we should talk more about it. I mean, I'll know a lot more next week. But of course, I said that last week, and these contracts tend to drag on, so it's like hurry up and wait. But
and if you want to hang out, sorry to cut you off. I apologize, Rob. No. If everybody will go back to the Geek group document, scroll down to the bottom there if you can find it. And some people are already starting to, Rob, this is how we finish out our meetings again, straight from the traction book. Go ahead and type your name and type your rating. If it's an 8 or a 9, you don't have to say anything. If it's a 7 or below, please share. The goal of this part of the meeting is to, if there's anything on your mind you didn't get to say, if you're feeling we didn't cover something you needed to, this is your point before you get off the call. If you leave the call now and don't say it, then it's on you. But this is your chance, and you want this in all your meetings, by the way, for all your teams. Just if someone's got something to say, it's better we get it out right now and talk about it. So, and even if we don't talk about it now, we'll put it on a list to talk about later.
I got to get back to the family, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. I was happy to be here. Thank you,
Rob.
Max. Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Okay, ready to call out. So I guess unmute yourself and let's roll down through this rather quickly. Jay might be still on his work, so I'm going to read yours, Jay. Are you there, Jay? Okay. Jay's a 9. Aubrey, what's your rating? Aubrey, you there?
The rating's an 8.
Okay, nice, thank you. Justin, rating?
I gave it an 8.
Michael?
An 8.
Starr? Okay. Charmaine, nice. And Starr was an 8, by the way. Dave?
9.
Terrina? You might be on mute or we can't hear you. Terrina's a 9. All right, Mary?
9.
Nice. Thank you. Lucian?
I give 9. Solid.
Nice. Thank you. I put a 9 too. Anybody we missed?
Yeah, I hadn't typed it in yet. This is Darnell.
Do it verbally, Darnell. So this is the rating portion if you're new to the meeting. And so you're not necessarily rating a person, you're just kind of rating the meeting. And especially if you've got something to say that where you want to put a 7 or below, then put that in there and just tell us what's on your mind or how you're feeling. What do you rate the meeting?
I would say a 9. I got a lot of information I didn't expect to get. I don't know about anybody else, but it's inspiring. But I see I have a lot of great work to do. I'm not nervous about it. I'm excited about it. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you. And Chalmette typed in an 8.5 on the chat. Okay, you guys, and I hope to have, just to put, a thought in your mind, I hope to have Rob back, if not on that October 22 call for sponsors. I want to have him later, but I want you guys to have access to more sponsors in case the Geeks can't handle your deal or we need partners. You've got additional people to continue to reach out to for your multifamily needs. So with that, I think we're saying goodbye, and I wish you all a great weekend.
All right, thank you.
Bye, everyone.
All right, you guys.
Bye.
Hey, anybody going to the Ultimate Partners?
Yeah,
Anybody?
a bunch of people are going to Ultimate Partners. I think a bunch are. Raise your hand if you're going to Ultimate
Okay,
Partners.
I'm looking for a roommate if there's anybody.
It's on the calendar. If you guys are willing, we should meet up the night before the event starts. I put it on the calendar as let's meet in the hotel watering hole. Michael knows what that means. That's where we always meet. I mean, honestly, there's 50, 60, 80 people down in the bar the night before. So that should be on your plan. Come in early enough to get there at 7-ish or 6, 7-ish, and that's what people do. We all stand around and say hello.
Max is buying the water, right?
Yeah, the water at the watering hole.
So any of you ladies gonna be there?
All right. Terrina's saying yes.
All right, Trina, I'm gonna text you.
All right, you guys, and Charmaine, see all the contact information in the chat there, and maybe I'll send out a notification or something. Who's going? Maybe I'll do like a Google form if that would help.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. All right, thank you. All right, bye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye, Charmaine. Bye, Chalmette.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Jay.
Thank you.
Bye, you guys. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.